What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is a Dragonheir Silent Gods video, and how I mentioned before, probably you've heard me saying it like 1,000 times, we are continuing the marathon. In today's video, I'm here with Arsalan, guys, ready to review the next elements of Epic Champions. What's up, Arsalan? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm excited for all the Frost units we're gonna review.
So,
It has some of my favorite units in there, uh,
nice.
which I which I really like.
So,
There's
what?
a S tier there too, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Frost epic.
I have a few of them, but we're gonna do Frost on this channel, guys, and we're gonna do Necrosis on Arsalan's channel. The link will be in the pinned comment, so feel free to click on it and continue the good vibes once we're done with the Frost heroes here. In case if you're curious about the summoners, because we will talk about a couple of different things about the summoners in there. So we're gonna start with Dor Curas, right? Interesting
Yeah,
epic champion, and I feel like he enables quite a bit, right? And brings in that frost. That's kind of like what I'm feeling with him. You know, basic attacks have a 60% chance of dealing derivative damage and inflicting frost on the target for 5 seconds, which is definitely pretty nice. Now, for derivative damage, you want to have enlightenment, right? So you don't want to prioritize tons of crit rate if the main thing that you want to do with him is to bring damage, right?
yeah, and also one thing, like besides Havita, like he's the only one who deals derived damage for
Mm.
cold. So there in Frost, you don't really get a lot of derivative damage, and even with him, like it's not as great as I would have expected. I tried him out, but yeah, the derivative damage is like misleading. But he's great for inflicting Frost, and
Yeah.
he's like a kind of, because in Frost you definitely need to have that debuff on to do more damage.
Yep, that's kind of like what I like about him, just enabling the other ones to deal damage. Like Usa, the rare champion, can deal a lot of damage if the enemies are under frost. Most of them are actually in kind of like in that situation, you know, and it's nice that he can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Vidimir, what do you think about Gandalf?
Gandalf is very interesting. He does bring attack up if you kill somebody with the frost up, but I feel like that's like a wasted ability.
Mm,
I personally don't really like his kit is interesting, but it's not suited for anything. Like I feel like the ranges are weird. Like even his ultimate has this weird mechanic of like bouncing around this thing. Uh, It, I don't really liked him at all in beta. I did test him. I did test him a lot in beta, but not in the season one. So it doesn't add up for like a lot of different frosts. It doesn't enable a lot of damage. You don't get a lot because usually when you're fighting bosses, once they die, the run is over. So what you're gonna do with the passive?
yeah, I feel the same. Like I'm not a big fan of the hero personally either, man.
Yeah, he's a very lacking. He needs a
Mm,
buff.
100%, 100%. Sovalis, another interesting one. Good enabler, accuracy for all battles. Then shoots an arrow at the enemy with inflicted with invisibility, dealing 200% cold damage and a chance to put attack penalty. This is the nice part of it, you know, which allows you to put the attack down.
Yeah,
Heals,
but only if they have invisibility. So
yeah,
if you're fighting bosses or things like
they
that, it's
won't
not
have
gonna work.
invisibility. Yeah,
Yes. So it's like another hero that is like
B-
failed in his failed in
basic.
his kit.
Yeah, I feel like he's just more for the pillars and other areas where you might encounter heroes that will buff a lot with invisibility and stuff. But then, because it might not be AoE, you know, that's kind of like,
Yeah.
not
The
not
only
that
area
good.
he's decent as is in arena. Like in arena, if you fight teams with invisibility, and also he brings in like ultimate down. It's a decent enough chance. I think it's like 65, 75 chance,
Yeah,
something like that.
really
To
good.
inflict the ultimate down. So it's only good for like that particular part of arena, and it's not AOE. So you will obviously miss their support or their control units. So he's
Hmm.
very overall like subpar. Like he's not good. There are better
Yeah,
options.
yeah, there are definitely better options, 100%. Like he's not reliable. That's the main problem with him. He's not reliable. Doesn't bring consistency to the team, and that kind of like puts him off the list. We have Leeander. What do you think about this bad boy?
Another, I think, like failed epic.
Hmm.
Personally, he's like if you fighting goblins or things like that, his passive does come in play where he will gain ultimate energy of the heroes. But I think in goblin they don't have ultimate energy, if I'm not mistaken.
I
So if
think they
only works
don't,
in like
and he doesn't have
pillars of
AoE
fire and like
after,
things
to
like that.
kind of like make it justified,
Yeah,
you know.
it's pretty bad. Like his kit has nothing unique or worth mentioning. Like you really need attack down as a debuff. So as a support, he's failing. As a support, he's not providing healing. So
Mm.
there's like a lot missing from his kit, and that control is only single target.
Yep, and the attack penalty is the lower version too, so definitely not that amazing. Gardrus. Now this is a different cup of tea. Resistance for all battles. The passive has a chance to immunize the inflicted debuff each time the hero gets immune, recharges ultimate energy. Then you have attack penalty too, with a 100% chance to put it once you have him fully toned, which is nice. And then you have control, bro. Like I like this. You're knocking up the enemies. You have a pretty good range in there. You have recharge
Yeah.
speed penalty and the stun, which definitely very very solid for an epic
Yeah, he
champion.
pushes back everybody too. Like it's a
Mm.
very interesting effect that it has. So when you place him, like it's great for controlling like the enemy team support units or their controllers. If you can make him faster, he's pretty good for
Mm.
arena in general,
Yeah.
and also for like Pillars of Trust and the Leeander waves and everything. If
Yeah,
you're struggling there,
where you need
you can
that
definitely
control,
use
yeah,
him.
100%. I think I will build him for the Pillar of Trials actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty decent. That ultimate hits animation is pretty cool.
Mm. We have Rowena. She looks so freaking cool as a design, man. Huh? I like the design of
Yeah,
her a lot.
the
She's
design
awesome.
is pretty good. It reminds me of Trunda.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of Tranda too for whatever reason. I don't know, like
Trunda with a
beastie,
bow.
Yeah, with a bow and a nice big helmet there. What do you think
Yeah,
about
she's a
her?
solid damage dealer actually. Not the best in the Frost epics, but if you need like you definitely need like 2 DPS for every team anyways. So she's a very good DPS for that team. She ignores defense. Her ultimate hits really hard.
Mm.
I think it's one of the highest ultimate multiplier is there on epic 840%,
Yeah,
and that's yeah.
you need to pinch that frost on.
Yeah, you definitely need that frost, and she does have a chance of inflicting frost, but it's a single target, so she
Yeah,
needs somebody else to
an
inflict the
enabler.
frost.
Yeah. If you enable the frost to be there all the time, like she's gonna do insane numbers. I feel like it.
Yeah,
Mm.
and the other DPS that we're gonna review next is gonna not hit this guy,
Yeah,
but the DPS that
the
we'll get to.
DPS. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we have
Dalbam.
Delbam, defense champion, a pretty good tank, but I feel like he's more decent for arena, right? You have resistance for
Yeah,
arena, the passive which gives him invincibility, and recovery over time when he's getting fatal damage is pretty nice. And then he's just like staying alive, being annoying, grants the shield, the defense up, and the ultimate has a chance to blind everybody on the board, which is amazing.
yeah. Blind for me, like it doesn't really work as well as like some of the other controls where they prevent you from doing ultimate.
Yeah,
This one doesn't prevent them from ultimate. The ultimate will hit you.
yeah,
Like
it
if
will.
I feel like if it was like something like, but it's still a full AOE, so it's definitely worth it. But if it had like some sort of like a alt control mechanic where they reduce the ultimate meter, that would have been better.
Would have been better, right? I think the
Yeah,
same. I think the same because that will allow him as well to just come back on top. Like maybe to get some healing from others and to try to heal back and tank even more. But interesting. I don't think he's the best tank for arena, but he's an interesting one if you don't have better options.
yeah.
Raava, what do you think about Raava?
So Rava is the DPS that I was talking about. He's amazing
Mm.
as a DPS. He brings in like the full frost that you need for your another DPS, and his ultimate it hits really hard. So what it does is it kind of creates this whirlwind effect, and once it creates this whirlwind effect, everybody's inflicted with frost, and then it explodes the frost. So
Mm.
it deals more damage to them. So
Yeah.
it hits really hard in a large area. So if you're struggling with Goblin and you don't have a frost DPS, you want a frost team, he's your guy. If you're building for arena, he's going to be your guy for inflicting that, doing a lot of damage in your team.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely worth building out if you're lacking a frost DPS.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one, Raava, right here. Then we have Pargo, a support one from the Frost element as well, of course. When using
Yeah,
skills to deal damage, if the target has debuffs, the duration of a random buff on the target is reduced. I don't like the passive. I feel like it's pretty weak sauce. Why not just completely remove one of the buffs? Like so many epics do similar things, you know.
Yeah. It's reducing the cooldown doesn't seem like that good in this game. You need to just remove it or not have it.
And here again, it's putting Frozen and prioritizes the attack on the enemy with the most debuffs. I feel like the enemy with the most debuffs is pretty effed already. You should use it on the enemy that has the least amount of debuffs. You know, I feel like that might work better.
Yeah, pretty much. He is pretty bad overall. Like his entire kit is pretty bad. However, a notable mention in beta, when beta started, he was one of the highest damage dealers in the
Was he?
game.
And they changed him after, I guess, because he's pretty
Yeah,
weak.
because they realized that they messed up. There was
Mm.
something wrong with his multipliers, and he was putting out insane amount of damage. Like you could clear out content that with a support unit who was doing more damage than any DPS unit. It was
Jesus.
very funny, but they did change him completely. This skill as well, like it's it's
Too random.
randomly picks one
You
of them.
can't count on it because you don't know what you're getting. You know, it's kind of like, okay, well, am I gonna get a blue color or am I gonna get green from there? You know,
Yeah,
all
no,
gun.
not
And
good at all.
he looks freaking awesome. Like such a beastly hero. Huh? So he looks so cool.
Yeah, the Minotaur effect, right?
Yeah.
And he's bringing an accuracy lead, which is actually really important for Frost heroes because they need to.
To put the
Uh,
frost. Yeah.
yeah, and he's kind of like a mini Hokadir, if you remember.
Yeah.
So Hokadir places attack up on he places Frost. So he's
Yep.
kind of like that unit. So it's pretty decent. He can also do some CC with Frozen on his battle skill.
Mm-hmm. And decent AoE damage here.
Yeah, it's similar to what Hokadir does, right?
Yeah.
But without inflicting frost.
Vores. Now this is one of the best epics in the freaking game, man. You're getting healing, you're getting block buffs, you're getting remove buffs, and he covers the entire map when he attacks. He deals a lot of damage, okay? Because even though he's a support champion, I feel like he's undercover. 1,428 attack, man, and he just smacks enemies 3 times with this. And I like him in a lot of areas for the simple fact that he has this massive coverage, you know, like he can land the buff prohibition on everybody. He can touch everybody.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. He's like a damage dealer that heals and supports. And interestingly, like if you don't have a control for arena, right?
Yeah.
You can actually place the Holy Hunter set on him, which has a 20% chance to stun. And with his ultimate, he's going to try to stun more, the enemies as well. It's a 20% chance, but you can definitely use him there.
I like using the Witch's Remains on him in my Goblin team, for example, you know?
Yeah, AoE defense down, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Elvis, another tank. What do you think about him?
I thought he was pretty weak sauce.
Yeah, I know he's pretty weak sauce. I was gonna wait to see if you agree with it or no, but he is pretty weak sauce. Yeah, he's one of the weakest tanks actually out of the epics.
Yeah, his defense is okayish, but like he doesn't bring that much to the table. Like when you're placing I think that's the general problem with Frost and summons. The tanks are really lacking. Like we saw in Fire and like other elements, like they always lack some kind of like a typical DPS, or they lack healers.
They all have a weakness in a way or another. Yeah.
Fire lacks healers, for example. Like these teams, like the Frost teams, really lack a decent tank, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like they don't have the best ones. That's for sure. Yeah. But that would complete our Frost epic heroes, guys. And Arsalan, was a pleasure to have you on the channel. Appreciate you coming by and kind of like giving us your input as well on the Frost heroes.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here with you, man. Nice discussing all the epics.
Absolutely. Looking forward to do the rares next in a couple of weeks. But guys, we're going to move over to Arsalan's channel where we're going to review the Necrosis epic heroes. So let's head over them and check them out. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.